Enter into his courts with praise. Be thankful to him. There's some things that God is going to have for you, but you need to start preparing for what God is getting ready to take you before you get there. I got my dance ready. I'm not going to wait till I get the new car. I'm going to dance my way into the new car. And God, I'm just going to show you a glimpse of what I'm going to do when you start doing what you said you're going to do. I'm not going to wait for you to do it. I'm going to praise you in advance for all that you said you were going to do. So bless his name, for the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. Verse 4 says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Enter into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endures to all generations. Tonight I simply want to use for a sermonic or sermonette sort of subject tonight, when thanksgiving is not enough. Look at your neighbor and say, when thanksgiving is not enough. In 1533, the coin of the term thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, by definition, is the act of giving thanks. Thanksgiving, according to Christians, can also be used as a prayer. There is actually a prayer of thanksgiving. A thanksgiving prayer is a prayer expressing gratitude, fulfillment, joy, expressing what God has done for you in a time of communication between you and God. Thanksgiving, according to the secular term, according to definition, it is a public acknowledgement or celebration of divine goodness. But of course, we don't hold on to a divine goodness. We know that it is not just a term of divine, but it is God, because it is in him we live, move, and have our being. According to the 16th century, we find that Thanksgiving Day begins to arise, and we coin a Thanksgiving Day, which is a day that has been appointed for giving thanks to the divine quote-unquote goodness. What I really would like to use for a title tonight, when Thanksgiving is not good enough, because I really have to say that we cannot hold the fourth Thursday in the month of November to be enough to give God thanks. I like what David said, that if I had 10,000 tongues, it would not be enough to say thank you. I don't know. I like what the songwriter says, how can I say thanks for the things that you have done? Things so undeserved. When we begin to think about how God has made a way out of no way for us, we would have to come back to the reality to say that I am nothing, and without God, I would have fallen a long time ago. I would have to say that it is because the mercy and the grace of God that I am where I am today, and without him, I know that I would not have made it thus far. I then would have to look back at my life and to look at how many hills and how many trials, how many battles that I fought to get to this particular place, and I have to come back to the reality to say, Lord, I thank you. If my life would have been on reality TV, I would have so many Emmys, so many times that God rescued me, when it looks like the enemy had already overtaken me, when I had given up on myself, when I had closed the door on myself, when I had thrown in the towel on myself. God opened the door and said, I'm going to make a way for you, because what you don't understand is that I've already begun something in you and you couldn't start it, and because you couldn't start it, you can't stop it. And I'm going to begin a great work in you, and I'm going to perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. So when I come to this place, I have to come back to the point to say Thanksgiving is not enough. It's not enough because God has been too good to me for me to limit him into a 24-hour sector to say this is going to be a day of Thanksgiving. But every day I open up my eyes, I'm going to lift up my hands. I'm going to look to the hills from which cometh my help, because I know my help comes from the Lord. So this day of Thanksgiving is going to come on Thursday, but I'm not going to limit my praise to Thursday, because I'm going to bless him every day. I get excited about what God has done. I'm excited about my future, but most of all, I can dance to my future by looking back at my past. I can look at some stuff that God brought me to, because Somebody tonight needs to understand it's not how you go into a trial, it's how you come out of it. And for some of us, we came out spotless. For some of us, we came out with no burns, no singes, no scars. But the other person that went into the same situation, they went through the same hell, they went through the same fire, they lost their minds, they committed suicide, they had a nervous breakdown. But I'm still here today. I'm a living testimony. I still got my joy, I still got my praise, I still got my smile, I still got a reason to give God praise, and I'm going to do everything God told me to do because I can, I will, I shall. This is just the beginning. You ain't seen nothing yet. But if all that I've been through was a slight indicator of where I'm going, you better move out my way because I'm running there as fast as I can. So here he says now to enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Now what I need us to understand tonight is that he says now to enter into his gates with thanksgiving. This is just the embryonic, the inception of what God has called for us to do as we come into the gates. He says now enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Now having a form of thanksgiving now is just the entrance. It's the VIP pass that got you in the door. I need us to understand that having thanksgiving is not to seal the deal. Thanksgiving is not it all. It's not everything inconclusive of the matter. Thanksgiving is just something that you need to open the door. So he says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving. There are some things that God is expecting you to bring with you as you come into your next place of blessing. There's some stuff that you need to already have. There are some prerequisites. Before you can get to Algebra 2, you got to first take Algebra 1. And before you get to Algebra 1, you need to have pre-algebra. And before you get to pre-algebra, you need a basic math. There's just some basic things that God needs you to have before you even can come into the gates. For some of us, we're trying to get to the next blessing, but God says, you don't have what it takes to get past the gate. I need somebody today to not look at your situation, but to look at your God. And when you understand that your God is bigger than your situation, then you'll stop belly aching, you'll stop complaining, you'll stop having a pity party, but you'll say the God that I serve is able. He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that I can ask or think. You have to come to a place that I'm going to come into the gate with thanksgiving, which means now that I don't get thanksgiving when I get to the gate, I'm going to bring some thanksgiving with me. For some of us, we need to come to a place that I'm going to bring thanksgiving with me to the gate, but I can't get in until I get to the gate. I have to come ready to give God something. Tonight I dare you, before you go to your family relationships and before you go to your family dinner this Thursday, I don't want you to wait till you get to Auntie Susie's house before you come in with a praise. I want you to bring a praise with you. You don't start preparing the meal when it's time to eat. You start preparing the meal. You start marinating the turkey a few days before Thanksgiving because you want everything to be right when you get there. There's some things that God is going to have for you, but you need to start preparing for what God is getting ready to take you before you get there. I got my dance ready. I'm not going to wait till I get the new car. I'm going to dance my way into the new car. And God, I'm just going to show you a glimpse of what I'm going to do when you start doing what you said you're going to do. I'm not going to wait for you to do it. I'm going to praise you in advance for all that you said you were going to do. So